With the reveal of Fulgrim's model, we are now fully on board with his return to Warhammer 40,000. I've done speculation videos in the past of Fulgrim returning and what could potentially happen, but now we do have him slithering back into the 40k narrative, and I personally think this is going to be huge. Not only will it affect what's going on with Chaos and Abaddon and his potential plans, Guilliman seeing his brother return who sliced his throat, which we'll get into in a second, but also the Eldar, because it appears on Fulgrim's model that he has one of the Crone Swords, and if the rumours line up, potentially we could be getting some big stories. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. So let's jump in the deep end and let's start with the potential reaction of the Imperium to Fulgrim's return. And I've been talking about this for so many years now. I've said one of the best things that they could do is bring Fulgrim back, because what that means to Guilliman. The last thing that Guilliman wants to see is the Primarch that basically put him in stasis for the last 10,000 years. I've always said, because of Fulgrim, that is why the Imperium ended up the way it is. Yes, with the Emperor on the Golden Throne, that was a huge blow, but it still had a leader. It still had that statesman in Guilliman who was navigating the Imperium to the right way. And then he fought Fulgrim. Fulgrim sliced his throat, Guilliman got put in stasis, and the Imperium began to crumble from within. Like, in my mind, I would love a situation where we see Guilliman actually learning of Fulgrim's return to the 40k universe, and he's like ripping apart planets, and Guilliman seeing this, hearing this, is like, this is the brother that nearly sent me into damnation. This is the brother that nearly killed me. This is the brother that more or less put ruin upon the Imperium. I must have my vengeance. And we get Guilliman heading down and fighting Fulgrim once again, like the rematch, like, you did this to me, you did that to me. This time Guilliman has maybe the power of the faith on his side, because we know that's been a big snowball of a narrative that's been happening throughout the books. Of course, he's got the Emperor's Sword now. That Emperor's Sword can literally kill outright demons. If Fulgrim gets a slice on him, then maybe that could be it. Of course, they're not going to do that because it's a brand new model and Fulgrim is probably never going to die, but it'd be nice to have that huge situation of these two demi-primarchs meeting again. And not only that, right, I think this could be the perfect opportunity to bring Lion L. Johnson back in the lore. I've previously said, right, we need these two loyalist brothers to meet up. The Lion knows that Guilliman is back, but Guilliman doesn't know anything about the Lion's return, so the Lion is actively seeking Guilliman. What if he actually seeks him on the planet where he's fighting Fulgrim? Fulgrim is overpowering Guilliman again. He's about to give him the death blow, and out of like the forest walk, what the Lion can do, he appears, puts his sword and stops the killing blow. I have returned, brother, to aid you. And you have the Lion and Guilliman doing a 2 versus 1 versus Fulgrim that push him back, and maybe like they defeat him, and like, well, he has to like retreat from the battlefield. That could be an absolute fantastic narrative, not so much for Chaos, but for the Imperium, and have this epic reuniting of brothers. This is the things that I dream of in my narrative mind. But if you flip that coin upside down as well, I don't think the majority of the Chaos forces are going to welcome Fulgrim back as well, especially Abaddon. Abaddon is the main player now for the forces of Chaos, the Black Legion, everything that's happening. I'm sure Fulgrim is going to get a massive host going to him. Those Emperor's children are all going to start returning to his banner, and they're going to be causing devastation in their wake. And maybe Abaddon sees that as a threat. He sees that as another major warband doing their own things and taking glory, taking resources, taking troops away from his much needed cause. We know that Abaddon did say in one of the books that he would have to deal with Fulgrim at one point, because Fulgrim was just on his pleasure planet doing what the hell he wanted, causing his own havoc. So maybe we could get this epic confrontation with Abaddon and Fulgrim. Now, I have to say, I'm not really that big of an Abaddon fan. I know a lot of people like Abaddon, but I would absolutely love to see Fulgrim teach him a lesson. I know I'm not a big Fulgrim fan as well, but I think Abaddon has got a little bit too big for his boots, and maybe he needs bringing down a peg or two. Maybe Abaddon is wounded, and then maybe we get some other major characters stepping up and leading their war bands and doing more missions and stuff like that, while Abaddon heals and repairs himself. There's so many bloody narratives they can go down with this and make it absolutely epic. But I think the biggest narrative event we can have from this is actually with the Eldar themselves, because it seems that Fulgrim is wielding something called a Crone Sword. Now, from what I've been reading about the Eldar, again, I'm an Imperial player, but I've been really deep diving into the Eldar lore with this. One of the Eldar gods basically cut off one of his fingers, and from that, there was 5 swords that were made. And these 5 swords basically have the power to bring back an Eldar god, which potentially could damn Slaanesh and see the Eldar souls set free if everything goes to plan. Again, this is just one of the theories I've been reading online. Now, they do have 4 of the Crone Swords in the Eldar's possession. One is with Yvraine. I put the image up in the background so you see it now. One is with the Vizark. One is with Ykain, and one is with Uriel. Now, Prince Uriel, again, has been rumored to be getting a brand new model. The Corsairs are apparently going to get a big, well, I say big, a mini range refresh. So if that happens, that means it brings more narrative in there. Uriel with his brand new sculpted model with his Crone Sword. And the last Crone Sword, the final Crone Sword, was rumored to be in the Palace of Slaanesh in the Psychic Awakening book. I think that was all the way back in 9th edition, if I'm not mistaken. And now with Fulgrim's return, it looks like he's wielding that Crone Sword. So it looks like he may have been given that sword by Slaanesh itself, and he is wielding it. So potentially we could have like an Eldar narrative of them saying, hey, this is the last Crone Sword. We need to put all our resources in gathering this, getting this, because potentially this could be a massive thing for our race. So it sets up a massive new storyline now for the Eldar. Well, I say massive new storyline. The Eldar storyline apparently was going ahead, and then it kind of just sunk to nowhere, and now potentially this is reviving it back. But it's putting the Eldar back into the so-called big hole narrative of Warhammer 40,000. So potentially we could see some massive things with them as well. All I hope for is when this EC Codex drops, hopefully the rumored springtime is true, and we actually get it, there's just a mountain of lore in there that we can dissect and go through, and awesome narratives and stories will just be there for us to read and just to embrace, and just see how cool the Emperor's children are and what their plans are and what they just want to do in the current timeline, and with all the Primarchs returning and all the big events that has been happening, the Prime Nexus, etc., all that type of stuff. Fingers crossed we do get some epic lore, because I know I've stated this a couple of times that the current 40k codexes this edition feel so off with their lore. It seems like it's just mostly copy and pasted. In certain cases, it's like stuff they posted in 8th edition was like just completely retconned and like it never existed at all. It's like, what the hell is going on with some of the lore aspects? But hopefully, fingers crossed, this one is absolutely amazing. Anyways, Chaperonios, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Do you think the Crone Swords are a big issue? Do you think that's going to be a big narrative with the Eldar and Slaanesh? Do you think Fulgrim is actually wielding a Crone Sword, or is it just like another special sword? We know one of them is Ferris's, but what is that other sword? What do you think that Gilliman's going to do when he sees Fulgrim's return, or hears about Fulgrim's return? And do you think that Chaos are going to try and stick a sword in Fulgrim's side, especially Abaddon, because he definitely does not like Fulgrim? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm have a nice little chin wag down there, as we always do. See ya. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world, and bye-bye.